The photo that shows your death. Imagine this. Your phone buzzes in the dead of night, a notification from an unknown number sliding across the screen like a whisper from the grave. And when you tap it, a single photograph loads, a crystal-clear image of yourself, lifeless, eyes vacant, sprawled in a pool of your own blood on the cold tile floor of your bathroom. The angle captured from the exact spot where your phone now sits in your trembling hand. The timestamp reads, tomorrow, 3:17 a.m. And as your heart hammers against your ribs, you notice the subtlest details that make your stomach churn. The faded scar on your left knuckle from that childhood accident, the exact rip in your favorite gray sweatshirt you wore just yesterday, even the chipped edge of the sink that you've been meaning to fix for months. You blink hard, convinced it's a deepfake, a cruel prank from some digital stalker. But the metadata confirms it was taken on your own device, geotagged to your current location. And worst of all, in the background of the photo, your own hand clutches the phone that's now buzzing again with the same image, looping eternally. Who or what sent this prophecy of your demise, and how do you outrun a future that's already been snapped? In the quiet suburb of Elmwood Heights, where streetlights flickered like dying fireflies against the perpetual fog rolling in from the nearby river, lived Markus Heyl, a 34-year-old graphic designer whose days blurred into nights hunched over his dual monitors in a cramped second-floor apartment that smelled faintly of instant ramen and unwashed laundry piled in the corner. The building, a relic from the 1920s, with creaking floorboards and wallpaper peeling like sunburned skin, had always felt a touch off-kilter to Markus. Shadows that seemed to linger a beat too long in the hallway mirror, whispers of wind through vents that carried no breeze, and the occasional thud from the empty unit above that made him pause mid-keystroke, ear cocked toward the ceiling, as if listening for footsteps that never quite materialized. He'd moved there 6 months ago after a messy breakup, seeking solitude in the anonymity of the complex, where neighbors nodded politely in the lobby but never lingered for small talk, their eyes darting away as if they knew secrets about the place he hadn't yet uncovered. Markus wasn't superstitious. He prided himself on his rational mind, dismissing the late-night Reddit threads about cursed objects and urban legends as the desperate inventions of insomniacs chasing clicks. Yet on that humid Thursday evening in late October, as autumn leaves scratched against his window like desperate fingernails, everything he thought he knew about reality began to fracture with the ping of a single text message. The screen lit up his darkened living room, casting an eerie blue glow across the scattered takeout containers and the half-finished mug of coffee gone cold on his desk, the message originating from a blocked number that somehow pierced his spam filters. No words, just the attachment, a JPEG labeled urgent.jpg. Curiosity overrode caution. He tapped it open, and there it was, the photo that would haunt his every waking moment and invade his dreams with surgical precision. His own corpse, pale and twisted, slumped against the porcelain throne in his bathroom, throat slashed open in a ragged gash that exposed glistening trachea and pooling crimson, his eyes frozen in a wide-eyed rictus of shock, mouth agape as if mid-scream, and clutched in his right hand, slick with blood, his iPhone displaying the very same image. The timestamp glared accusingly. October 27th, 3:17 a.m., less than 10 hours away. And the details drilled into his psyche like icy screws. The faint stubble shadow on his jaw from skipping his shave that morning, the crooked angle of his left arm bent unnaturally behind him, even the specific droplets of condensation on the mirror from his impending shower, all rendered in hyper-realistic clarity that no AI filter could fabricate. Panic surged through him like electricity, his breath coming in shallow gasps as he swiped frantically through his phone's gallery. Recent photos, call logs, nothing. No trace of when or how this abomination had been captured, yet EXF data stubbornly confirmed it originated from his camera roll at 2:58 a.m. tomorrow, a temporal paradox that twisted his gut into knots. He stumbled to the bathroom, flipping on the harsh fluorescent light that buzzed like a swarm of angry hornets, positioning his phone exactly where the corpse's hand gripped it in the photo, staring into the mirror at his reflection, pale, disheveled, alive for now, and snapping test shots, but each one showed only the empty room, the sink with its chip, the towel rack with his blue towel dangling crookedly. No blood, no body, no death. heart racing at 140 beats per minute, sweat beading on his forehead despite the chill seeping through the thin walls. Marcus dialed 911, his voice cracking as he stammered about a death threat photo, but the dispatcher, calm and procedural, assured him it sounded like a hoax, advising him to change his locks and report it to the non-emergency line in the morning, her tone implying he was just another paranoid soul wasting resources. Hanging up, he barricaded the door with his desk chair, paced the living room in tightening circles, mind spiraling through possibilities, a hacker with access to his cloud backups, a stalker who'd cloned his phone, or worse, some glitch in the matrix exposing the threads of fate. By midnight, exhaustion clawed at him, but sleep was a distant enemy. He sat vigil by the bathroom door, phone clutched like a talisman, refreshing the image obsessively, noticing new horrors with each pass, the faint outline of a shadow in the corner of the frame, humanoid but elongated, fingers too long and joints bending wrong, lurking just beyond the blood pool as if waiting its turn. As the clock ticked past 2 a.m., the apartment grew unnaturally still, the distant hum of traffic fading into a suffocating silence, broken only by the relentless drip from the kitchen faucet he'd never fixed, each plink echoing like a countdown. And Marcus's eyes burned from staring at the screen, willing the photo to change, to prove it a lie. But instead, subtle alterations crept in like a virus updating its code. Now a smear of blood arced across the wall behind the sink, matching the exact trajectory if his throat were slit from left to right. And in the mirror's reflection within the photo, his own living face stared back, not dead but terrified, mouthing silent pleas as the shadow figure loomed closer, its face obscured by glitchy pixels that resolved into hollow eyes and a grin stretched too wide. Terror rooted him to the spot, muscles locked in fight or flight paralysis, as he realized the photo wasn't static, it was live updating, a window into a future unraveling in real time. And at 2:45 a.m., his phone buzzed again, this time with a video attachment from the same number. 30 seconds of footage showing him entering the bathroom, oblivious, turning on the shower, steam rising like ghostly veils, then the shadow detaching from the wall, coalescing into a form that mimicked his silhouette, but moved with predatory grace, razor-thin appendages extending from its torso, like extensions of malice itself. The video looped on his scream, building in his throat, cutting off at the moment the shadow lunged. Time-stamped 3:17 a.m., and Marcus bolted for the front door, fumbling with the deadbolt slick with his sweat-slick palms, bursting into the hallway where the air hung heavy with the scent of mildew and something metallic, like fresh pennies. Neighbors' doors remaining shut despite his frantic pounding. "Help! It's coming for me!" Their silence a wall of indifference or fear. He fled down the stairwell, footsteps echoing in hollow thunder, emerging into the foggy night where street lamps cast elongated shadows that seemed to pursue him. Phone clutched as the battery drained impossibly fast, from 87% to 12% in minutes. The photo now showing his current sprint, bloodied corpse replaced by a live feed of his panicked flight, timestamp updating to now. Desperation drove him to his car, keys jangling like accusations, engine roaring to life as he peeled out, weaving through empty streets toward the highway. But in the rear view, the fog parted to reveal his apartment building receding, and on the passenger seat, his phone lit up with a new photo. Him, wrecked against a guardrail, car mangled, flames licking the chassis. Timestamp 3:27 a.m. The shadow now fully visible in the driver's seat, hands on the wheel. Miles blurred into a haze of adrenaline-fueled hallucination, Marcus swerving to avoid phantom obstacles, rational mind crumbling under the onslaught of evidence that death wasn't chasing him, it was herding him. The photo evolving with every near miss, predicting crashes averted by inches. The shadow's form sharpening into something almost familiar, like a distorted echo of his ex-girlfriend's silhouette. Her voice, once sweet, now whispering through the car's speakers from an unsent voicemail. You can't run from what's already seen you. Dawn crept over the horizon as he abandoned the car in a desolate rest stop, legs pumping toward the tree line, branches whipping his face like vengeful spirits. Phone dying at last, but the final image burned into his retinas. Him, collapsed against an oak, throat torn open by his own hands in suicidal frenzy, shadow cradling him like a lover. Timestamp now. Collapsing to his knees in the underbrush, sobs racking his frame, Marcus clawed at the dirt, begging for mercy from an unseen photographer. But the only response was the rustle of leaves and the inexorable tick of his pulse counting down. In the weeks that followed, Marcus vanished without trace. No body found, no car recovered intact, just whispers among Elmwood Heights residents of a frantic man pounding on doors that night, and on obscure forums, grainy screenshots of his final photo circulated, timestamp frozen at 3:17 a.m., viewers reporting their own phones glitching upon viewing it, new timestamps appearing with their faces. Detectives dismissed it as a digital ghost story, but those who lingered on the image swore they felt watched, a prickling at the nape of the neck, as if the shadow had claimed another lens through which to peer into fresh lives, patiently awaiting its next snapshot.